on? Well, we've got a leak in the pond. We'll go down the pond in just a minute and I'll show you the wet spot I've got on the opposite side of the dam, which obviously indicated to me that I've got a leak. But once I found the wet spot, I took to YouTube and come across Adam with Hometown Acres. He'd built a pond and had a leak in his dam, and he used this product and has been pleased with it. So the product is Damit by Shalex Industries. And so it is a polymer material, but it activates with moisture. So you actually spread this over the pond surface. Once it gets wet, it sort of skims, slimes over, and then it sinks to the bottom. And it's supposed to sort of blanket the bottom of your pond, and then with water pressure, it's supposed to draw this into the leak and seal it off. So we're gonna go down the pond, and we're gonna spread it, and we're gonna see if it works or not. Adam, if this doesn't work, I will refund. Okay, I'm on the other side of the driveway down from the pond, and if you will notice, I have a swamp. This is just staying muddy, staying wet. It won't dry up. I mowed yesterday and you can see where my tracks came through. So what I'm going to do is I'll mark this off. Obviously you can tell when I mow it, I'll know if it's working or not, if it's drying up any, but I'll mark this spot and I'll kindly monitor it over the next couple weeks, and we'll see if we fixed anything. Okay, I'm over here at the overflow, in which I've got a 2-inch pipe that goes through my overflow. Typically I would have that closed and the water would come up and spill over. The last thing I wanted to do was spread this stuff on the surface and then it just carry itself right over the dam here and right through down to the creek. So I've let it run here since yesterday, and so we've got it drained down. So I'll close this off, and it'll take this 3 or 4 days to fill back up. So hopefully that gives it enough time to sink and do its thing before the water carries it over the dam. One other thing is we will be stocking this pond with fish, so I wanted to get this done before we did that. Container does say you can apply it where fish are present, but they recommend removing them if you can. But we have ended up with 8 or 10 bluegill in here we've seen. I guess Mother Nature took her course. And then I've got a bunch of tadpoles in here swimming around, so I'm gonna wish them the best of luck. But hopefully we won't have too many sacrificial lambs. When you're spreading that stuff with just a broadcast seeder in the boat, it all comes, or half of it comes back in the boat with you. So sometimes you gotta improvise. Let's see how it works. Well, I don't know if you would call that application graceful or not, but we got most of it in the pond. But I'll go over here and show you what this stuff acts like once it gets on top of the water. I'll stick my hand down in here. You can see that slime that comes up with it. So that is supposed to settle down to the bottom of the pond. It's supposed to take sediment with it and work its way down in those cracks and seal everything off. All right, if I had to do it over, I wouldn't use this kind of spreader. I would have went and bought one of those little battery powered handheld spreaders to where you could have just used one hand and you could have kept it out in front of you and kept it off of you. So if I hadn't put that plastic around my neck, Lord, I'd have had as much in the boat as I would have in the pond. So it does a good job spreading it out, but you just get so much coming back on you. So I would change that. But this stuff, after filling it and the way it slimes over, I got a feeling it'll stop my leak. But right here is a picture of the bucket. Shalex Damit. So anyway, I'm gonna let this set for 3 or 4 days, probably a week, and then I will come back with video, and then we'll check our wet spot down there and we'll see if it's done any good. Give you an idea how what this stuff's like when it sets up. That's just what was laying on that boat paddle. Well, after 24 hours, it appears that all the polymer has sank to the bottom. I've stuck my finger in the water around the pond in different places, and you don't get that slime on your fingers like I was getting yesterday. And on a good note as well, we've still got signs of life all the way around the pond. So it looks like maybe they're gonna survive. We'll give it a few days here and we'll check our wet spot, see if it's starting to dry up. Well, it's been about 2 months since I shot that last video spreading the Damit material in the pond, but we've still got a leak. I think it has helped some because it used to be wet on down here up on the bank. I would have moisture. We just had a lot of rain, so water actually got up in the ditch, so it's a little wet around the bottom, but that's just runoff water that got that wet. But up here, I've still got a wet spot right here, and there's one right over here that kind of stays. You can just stand on it. It sort of pumps when you stand on it. So I don't know that I gave it a fair crack the first time around, because I had just a standard yard spreader and I was throwing it back in the boat, and I don't know that I got good enough coverage in the pond. So I have bought 2 buckets of this stuff, and I've got a new setup I'm gonna try, and let's hope this will take care of it this time. All right, for starters, I have bought one of these little battery powered spreaders, but it throws it all out the front and it's not throwing it back here this way. So everything should go out the front, so I should be able to control it a lot better. Secondly, is I have a rope attached to the back and one attached to the front. So I'm gonna get my wife and son, they'll get on both sides of the bank, and so I'm gonna start on that end, and then I'm just gonna have them work me down the pond. That way I can get a good coverage on it, and don't have this boat paddle in the water getting wet, getting water up in the boat, because I will tell you, you get that stuff in the boat and it gets wet, it's a slimy mess. It's still, where I've tried to wash it out, there's still remnants of that stuff in this canoe. We went fishing a couple weeks ago and it was like on a slip and slide in here. So try to keep that stuff out of your boat if you can. So I think this little battery powered spreader should do a whole lot better. But it's early morning, wind hadn't picked up too bad. We always get a breeze through here, so it sort of floats that stuff around. So I'm gonna go get my crew, we'll get in the water and we'll see if we can get it put on there. All right, we've got our tow system here in place. Rope in the back, rope in the front. So we're gonna ease down here, and so I'm gonna load my spreader up. And then I'm gonna have them just work me back and forth and then bring me down the pond. Alright, this thing is brand new. Came with batteries, but it seems like when you get the little wheel there loaded, it's struggling to spread this stuff, so may have to go back to the drawing board again. Alright, we got some new batteries in the old Scott's Whiz here. Let's see if it does any better. Seems like it does a little better. I'm not going to load the hopper as full. This is no powerhouse by any means, but let's give it a shot. All right, my recommendation: do not buy this spreader to spread Shalex Damit. It does not work. It just, that powder is too heavy and it just won't cut the mustard. So I ended up just spreading it in my hand. They say not to do that to get better coverage, but if you'll throw it long ways out there, you can get it spread out pretty good and get it to work. So save your money, don't buy this one. I've got one bucket spread on the pond. We've kind of got a light coverage out on the outer side. I think my leak is more so down here in the deep section on this wall, just due to where the water's coming out on the other side. So I'm gonna take that other bucket and I'm gonna work that bank over there, so hopefully we'll get some of that deeper water we got that's more concentrated and get down in there. So we'll see what happens. I'm gonna throw about a half a bucket out, and I'll probably keep a little bit of it to throw back on it there in a few more days, but that's the plan at this point. One recommendation I've got for you: if you spread this stuff out of your boat and you get some of this granular powder material in your boat, I would not take a water hose and wash it out. That stuff is unbelievable how slimy it is, and it's just hard to get off. So take a blower and blow that out, and then you probably come back and wash your boat down. One thing I'll tell you that it would be real good for: spread your little out on a slip and slide. You can have some fun. Probably take a while to get that stuff washed off of you, but you want to talk about making it slick, that would do it. Well, I'm gonna end this one here. I'll come back in a month or so and put out an update on whether or not it stopped my leak. But I think this stuff will work. It's slowed the leak down from when I done it before. I'll say it's a little aggravating getting it on the water. I've not really, what you would call, got the perfect recipe to do it. That little spreader that I used today would work great because it keeps it off of you, but that little battery powered operation just wasn't strong enough to get it spread. But if you had something with a little more power in that configuration, I think it'd work good. But I'll say thanks to Adam at Hometown Acres. He's the one put me on this stuff, and I appreciate the video, and let's hope it works. So I'll be back with you on another one. Until next time, we'll see you later.